Okay, so before we move on, we first of all need to install three modules that can help us in making this application. So if you're using Windows, open your command line. If you're using Linux or Mac, then open your terminal. So if you're using PyCharm, you can actually open your terminal inside of it by clicking on this option, terminal, and it will actually open this terminal right here. Okay, now the first module that we need to install using pip is pip install, and then the name of this module, which is PDF stream. Okay, so this here is capitalized, and then this PDF3 is capitalized as well, and then we have version 3. And now hit the enter button, and it will start installing that module on your computer. But I'm not going to hit the enter button because I already have installed this module on my computer. But in your case, hit the enter button to install this module on your computer, and make sure that you have your internet connection before you install this module, because it do require internet connection. So it may take like a minute or two, depending upon your internet connection, to install this module. Okay, now the next module that we will install is named as PyTT-SX version 3. And again, hit the enter button, and it will start installing that module as well. Okay, now the final module that we need is the PDF Plumber module. Okay, again hit the enter button, and it will start installing that module on your computer as well. Okay, so make sure that you have installed all of these three modules. It may take like 5 minutes to install all of these three modules, and once it is installed, you are now up and ready to start making this application where it's gonna convert PDF files into audiobooks. Okay, now in this video, we're going to import each and everything that we need in making this application. So let's do it. So right here at the top, first of all, what I'm going to do is that I will just import all these three modules that we have previously installed. So the first one is import, and then the PDF3 module. Next one is import. The next module is PyTT-SX stream. And then the third one is the PDF Blender module that we have previously installed. Okay, so these three modules will help us to convert the PDF file into audiobook. Okay, next we're gonna start importing different things from Kivy and Kivy MD. So first of all, let's just import the MD relative layout from Kivy MD. So from Kivy MD .uix.relative layout, we're gonna import the MD relative layout. Next, we're gonna be importing the MD app from Kivy MD. So from KiwiMD dot it is named as app dot import. We're going to import the MD app class. Okay, next we're going to be importing different things from Kivy. So I will just say that from Kiwi.uix. First of all, let's just import the label class. Next, we're going to be importing the image class. So from Kiwi.uix. Image, we're going to be importing the image class. Next, we're going to be importing the button class. So from Kiwi.uix. Button, we're going to be importing the button class as well. Next, we're going to import we're going to import window from kiwi.core from kiwi.co.window, we're gonna import window. Okay, so now we're gonna be using threading as well. So we'll just import the thread class from the threading module. So from threading, import the thread class as well. And finally, we're gonna be importing the file dialog, basically the ask open file class as well, which is gonna help us to choose any PDF file from our computer that we want to convert into audio. So right in here, we're just going to import it from Decanter. So from not threading, it is from Decanter dot file dialog. We're going to be importing the ask open file class. Okay, so yeah, these are all the things that we're gonna need in making our application. And now let's just create our layout, or let's just display our window. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is that I will actually create a class, and I will just name it as my app. You can just name it anything you want. And to this class, I will just pass this MD app class that we have previously imported. Okay, now right in here, what I'm gonna do is that I will actually create my build method. So build, and now we're gonna basically display our layout. So I will just name my layout as layout. You can just name it anything you want. And this is gonna be equal to the MD relative layout class that we have imported previously in this video as well. So now this function will actually return my layout. So return layout, and now let's just first of all scroll it down to make sure everything is visible. And now what we need to be doing is that we actually need to call this function, which is actually returning this layout. So I will first of all have my main function if name is just going to be equal to my main function. So main, what we need to do is that we actually need to call the run function, and this run function will actually call this build method, which is actually inside this class my app. So just remember this, the run will actually run this build method and not this function actually, because this run method will actually make sure that I'm actually executing this build function. Okay, so yeah, that's all how we need to be doing. And the final thing, actually, here we need to have these parentheses as well because I'm actually referencing a class. Okay, so this will actually display a basic relative layout, and let's just execute this whole application, and you can just see that we have this window, and now on this window we can just display different kinds of widgets, like the image label, like different images, buttons, labels, text inputs, whatever we want. But first of all, what I'm going to do is that I will actually decrease the size of this window, and I will have some background color for this window as well. So right in here, first of all, let's just set resize this window to something else. So previously we imported this window thing from Kivy.core, and now with it, what we can do is that we can actually give it a size. So window dot, it is this attribute size, which is just going to be equal to a tuple. And now inside of this tuple, I can just give first of all the height. So the height is going to be 500 pixels, and then the width is going to be 600 pixels. Okay, so now it will actually give this an appropriate. So now you can just see that this is now looking pretty much decent. And now in here we're gonna put on this widget. But first of all, let's just set the background color. So right in here, where we're actually creating a layout, we can actually pass the background property, which is mdbg color is going to be equal to a list. And now inside of this list, we actually need to pass the RGB value of any color that we want. Now you can just Google any RGB value of any color, and then just put it right here, and make sure that this value is in between 0 to 1. So say that I just want to put I just want to have a light pink background for my windows. So the RGB value of light pink is 248, 200, and then 220. And I told you that this value must be in between 0 to 1. So the RGB value is actually from 0 to 255. So the maximum value is 255. So I actually need to divide it by 255. What I'm actually doing, yeah, right in here, divided by 255, and then divided by 255, because this value must be in between 0 to 1. Okay, so now just execute this application. You're just going to see this light pink background for my window or for my layout. And now what we're going to do is that in the next video, we'll start putting different widgets on this window. Okay, so in here, I have this image in my project location that I just named as PDF to audio, and the extension of it is .jpg. Now what I'm going to do is that I will actually put this image at the top of my window that we have in the previous video. So let's do it. So right in here, previously we have imported this image class, and now with that image class, we can just display this window on our window. We can actually display that image on our window. Okay, so now right in here, I will just say that self, and I will just name my image as img. You can just name it anything you want, and I will just put it equal to that class image that we have imported previously. And now the first thing that we need to pass is basically the image. So the attribute that we're going to use for it is a source. It's just going to be equal to the name of the image. So I just named this image as PDF to audio. So right in here, I will just say that PDF to audio.jpg. Now, if that image is placed somewhere else on your computer, then make sure that you just specify the exact location right here and then the name of this image. But since it is placed in my project location, so I can directly access it with its name, and we just named it as PDF to audio.jpg. Okay, next we actually need to define the size of it. So right in here, I'll just use this attribute size underscore hint. It's just going to be equal to a tuple and say that it will be 0.5 and then 0.7. Okay, next, for the next attribute, we will just say that what is going to be its position on the screen. So the position hint is just going to be equal to a dictionary, and say that the center X position will be center X position will be 0.5 because I want to display it at the center of my window, and then the center Y position along Y axis. Along Y axis or vertically, it will be at 0.85. Okay, so that's the white position, and yeah, and now if you just want to display this image on your layout, what you need to do is that you just need to say layout, is the name of layout, and then this method add widget, and then whatever widget you want to put. In this case, we want to put this image, self.image, where we have stored our image. Okay, so now just execute this application. You're just gonna see that we have this image displayed right here at the top. Now you can just basically display the title. You can just basically have a label, and then you can just display this title PDF to MP3. But I would have that image displayed right here at the top. Okay, so now the next thing that we need to do is that now we will have a label, and that label will actually ask the user to select the PDF file you want to convert into an audiobook. And then I will have a button next to it where the user can actually select any PDF file from his computer that he want to convert. So first of all, let's just create our label. So let me just first of all minimize, and now right in here, I will just name this label as file user label. You can just name it anything you want, and put it equal to that class label that we have previously imported. And first of all, we need to tell what is going to be the text on this label. So the text on it will be say that it will be please select the PDF file to convert. Okay, so yeah. And now the next attribute is going to be the position. So position underscore hint is just going to be equal to a dictionary, and that is going to be center underscore X. So I want it appear a little bit to the left side of my center, because next to it will be a select button as well. So that's going to be the center X position, and then the center Y position. So center Y position is going to be, and make sure that it is actually inside of this single or double quotation mark. Okay, so the center Y position is going to be, so this one is at 0.85, and now this one is going to be at 0.60. Okay, so that's going to be the position of my label, and I actually need to give it some size as well. So it's going to be size, and it is going to be a tuple, and it will be one by one. Next, I actually need to define the font size of my text on this label. So the font size is just going to be equal to 20 pixels, and then the color of my text is going to be, say that I just want to have red color. So the RGB value of red is 1, 0, and then 0. Okay, so that's the RGB value. And now we just want to put this label on our window, on your window. Then what you can do is that you can just say that layout.add widget, and then this label file chosen label. And now what you can do is that you can actually execute this application, and you can just see that we have, please select the PDF file to convert. Now you can see that now it is, this text is not at the center of my window, because along x-axis you can see that here it is 0.4, because what I want is that next to it I want to have a button where when the user will actually click on that button, it will actually display a file dialog window, and then using that file dialog window, the user can choose any PDF file from his computer that if you want to convert into an audiobook. So let's just create this button. So right in here, what we're gonna do is that we will create this button. Yep, right here. So let's just say that I will just name my button as select button. You can just name it anything you want, and pretty good to that class button that we have imported. And the first thing that we need to do is that we need to set the text on this button, and the text on it is going to be select. Okay, next, I will just say that what is going to be the size hint. So size hint is just going to be none and none because I want to set my on size and width. Okay, so because I want to set the size and hit using the okay, so yeah, what I want to do is that I want to do it something like this. So the position on it, a position of it is just going to be 375 and then 340 pixels. Yeah, this is what I have set. And next, what I want to do is that I will just say that the height. So previously I was just setting the height to none because I want to set the height using the height property. So the height property is the height is just going to be 40 pixels, and then what this button will do is that it will, once it just gets pressed, it actually should open the file dialog window. So what I will just say that when this button gets pressed, it should actually call a function, and we would just name this function as file chooser. Now just remember that we haven't created this function yet, but we actually need to create this function before we execute this function. So first of all, before we create it, let's just first of all add this layout to our widget, and it is self dot select button. Okay, so now if you just execute this code, this will actually throw an error saying that this function is actually not defined. So you can just see that to the select button, I'm actually passing this event on press. So first of all, let's just create this function. And let's just create this function right in here. So def, and then the name of this function self, and then the next argument, basically the only argument it takes is basically that event, because in here we're actually binding an event to this function, to this button, select button, and when it just get pressed, so this press is actually an event that we need to pass to this function because this function will only be executed once it gets pressed. So this is an event, and this event will be passed right here, and it will be received right here. Okay, so now this function, for now, this function will do nothing. So we'll just use this attribute, use this keyword pass, means that this function contains nothing for now. Okay, so now we have this function, we have this button, we have this function, and everything is perfect. And now we can execute this whole application. And you can now just see that we have this select button, and you can just see that this select button is now doing nothing because that function is actually doing nothing when this button gets pressed. But when this button gets pressed, what I want to do is that it should actually open a file dialog window, and then from that file dialog window, the user can choose any PDF file that they want to convert into an audiobook. Okay, so when the user will choose any location from that file dialog window, then that location should be displayed right here below this label and below this button. So what we're going to do is that we're going to be creating a label which will display the location of that file and then the name of this file as well that you want to convert. So let's just create this label. So right in here, first of all, let me just minimize this screen. And now let's just say that I will just name my this label as location label. I'm just going to put it equal to this label class. And now initially the text on it is just going to be nothing because the text is just because on this label we will just set the text once the user will choose any location using the file dialog window, but for now it's just going to be empty. Okay, so text is going to be empty. Next, we just need to tell what is going to be the position of this label. So for center X, it will be 0.5, and then for center Y, so right in here, it will be center underscore Y. This is going to be equal to well, for now, we don't want this location label to on our screen. We only want this location label on our screen once the user will choose any location using the select button from the find dialog window. But for now, this label will not be visible on our screen. So that is why I'm actually setting the Y position to 20, which is the position that is not going to be visible on my screen. Okay, so that's the white position. And next, let's just say that what is going to be size. So size hint is just going to be equal to a tuple, and it will be one by one. Oops, not like this. So it is going to be one by one. Okay, so yeah, we are actually missing this bracket. Okay. Next, what is going to be the font size? So the font size is just going to be it's just going to be say that it's 20 pixels, and what is going to be the color? So say that the color of it is going to be blue. So the RGB value of blue is 0 for red, 0 for R, green, and then 1 for blue. So that's going to be the color of this label. Okay, so that's the color, and now let's just add it to our widget as well. Basically layout as well. So self dot location label. Okay, so just remember that this label is actually not visible on our screen because we have set the Y position to 20, and you can just see that in here we're actually executing this, actually executing this application, and we have added this label on our window, but still it's not visible because the reason for it is that we are setting the Y position to 20, and the this position is actually cannot be visible on our window. Okay, so now let's just create the convert button as well. That is going to be below our location label. So the convert button is actually not going to be visible as well because it will only be visible once the user will choose that PDF file using the file dialog window. So right in here, I will just say that self dot convert button, self dot convert button is just going to be equal to the button class, and then the text on it is just going to be convert, not convert, convert. Okay, so convert. Next, we just need to define where we want to place it on our screen. So the center X position is going to be 0.5, and as I told you that it will not be visible on our screen at this moment. It will only be visible once the user will choose any location using the file dialog window. Okay, so that's why the center Y position is going to be 20. Okay, next, let's just say that we will just say that the size hint is just going to be point 2, and then point 2, and then point 1. Okay, so that's the size hint. Next, what is going to be the size? So size is going to be 75 by 75. Okay, next, what is going to be the font? So right in here, what we'll do is that I'll just say that the font name is just going to be equal to comic. You will think that since if you if you're just following along this entire code, then you might be wondering that why I'm actually using this font again and again, because I really love this font, so that is why I'm actually using it again and again. So that's the font name. Next, we will just say that bold is equal to true. Not bold equal to true means that the text on it is going to be bold. Next, what is going to be the font size? So the font size of it is going to be font size is going to be 24. Next, I just want to set the background color of this button. So the property that we're going to use for this is background underscore color, and it's just going to be equal to a tuple. And now in here, I just need to pass the RGB value and say that I just want the green color, the green background color for this button. Okay, so that's the background color. Next, what's going to happen when this button gets pressed? Okay, so when this button gets pressed, then it will actually convert that file that we have chosen using the file dialog window into an audiobook. So it is actually so first of all, I'll just say that when this button gets pressed, it is actually going to call a function that we haven't created yet, but we will just name this function as to convert to audio thread. And we're going to be using thread because I want that convergent part to be a separate process from our main process. So I believe that you actually know what threading is. So if you don't know, then in simple words, threading is actually starting a small process or starting a parallel, a separate process we're just going to execute in parallel to our main process. So say that this is actually our main. So this entire code is actually our main code. So when I'm actually using threading, and when I'm just saying that this function will actually create a thread. I'm saying that this function will actually create a small process inside of basically that is going to be part of our main process, mean this main code, but that small process would run in parallel our main code. So I believe it is actually now clear. And now let's just create this function. So right in here, let's just create this function. So I've actually copied its name. So def and then the name of this function, and for now it will do nothing. But in here, just like with the file chooser function, we have bind an event, and here we have bind an event as well, and that is actually the pressed event, because the pressed event is also going to pass to this function, because this function can only be executed when the convert button gets clicked. Okay, so now right in here we have created that button, but we haven't laid it out on our widget. So self dot convert button, and again you can see that since we are setting the y position to 20, so our widget, this convert button is not going to be visible. So let me just show it to you, and you can just see that we have actually added to our layout, but it's not visible. And the reason for it is that we have set the center Y position to be 20, but we're gonna set its value, the center Y position, to equal to a value once the user has chosen a PDF file using the file dialog window. Okay, so now we have the convert button, and now say that the user has pressed the convert button and or application successfully converted that PDF file into an audio file. Then what we're going to do is that we will just display the success message to the user. So right in here so it may be possible that there is some kind of error displaying basically converting that or PDF file into audio file. So we'll just create a label, and if there is some kind of error, then that label will just show that error. But if our application is successfully converted or PDF file into audiobook, then uh, it will actually display the success message. So we'll just name this label as success error label, and so we're just going to put it equal to a label, and in here the text on it is initially is going to be nothing, but we're going to be setting the text depending upon if the file has been successfully converted or not. Okay, so the text on initially it will be nothing, and then the position hint. So position hint, and so you might have guessed that this one is also not going to be visible initially. So position height is going to be 0.5 along x-axis and then along y-axis. Okay, so this one is at, okay, so along y-axis, this one will be at 20 as well, because we don't want it to be appeared on our screen at this moment. Okay, so that's the position hint. Next, let's just set the size hint to 1 by 1. Next, let's just set the font size on this label. So font size is just going to be equal to 20 as well. And next, let's just set the color of this label to green. So 1 0 and then 0. Okay, so that's going to be the color. Well, actually, let's just set it to blue. So yeah, let's just set it to blue. Okay, so now in here, we just need to add it to our widget as well. So layout.add widget self.success add a label. Okay, so yeah, that's all we need to be doing. Well, there is no point of executing this application because these things will not be visible because we have set the Y position to 20. So these are not going to be visible on our screen, but we're going to make it visible once the user will choose, once the user has chosen some PDF file that we want to convert. First of all, we will just display that a location of that PDF file that you want to convert, and then in here on that location label, we're going to set that location, and then we will have that convert button because the user has chosen that PDF file, and now we can actually convert it. And then depending upon if it is successfully converted or not, we're going to display some kind of text on this success error label. Okay, so we have this select button on our window, and when the select button gets clicked, it's actually invoking this function file chooser, and that function will actually take the job of opening that file dialog window, and then using the file dialog window, the user can choose any PDF file that you want to convert into an audiobook. So now in this video, we're going to work inside of this function file chooser. So let's just go to this function, and in here, it's for now, it is actually not doing anything, because in here we have this pass keyword, but now we can actually remove this pass keyword because now we are actually going to start working inside of this function. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create a variable file, and I'm going to put it equal to ask open file. that we have previously imported using Tkinter right here. So from Tkinter, we've imported this ask open file, and this ask open file will actually open the type of file that we want to open. So right in here, first of all, I will just say that I actually want to read. So in here, I just say that read, and now the second thing in here, I actually need to pass is what type of files I want to open. So in here, since we want to open PDF files, I'll just say that file types is just going to be first of all a list. And now in here, inside of that tuple, what we need to do is that we actually need to tell, okay, we actually need to open PDF files, and these PDF files, so right in here, these PDF files must end with an extension of .pdf. Okay, so it could have any name, but at the end, we must have .pdf, which is actually the extension of that file. So in here, what this function will do is that it will only open PDF file types from, it will actually first of all display the PDF files that we have on our computer, and then since we want to read it, so that is why the mode is actually equal to R. And in here, this thing is actually important that we want to open only PDF file, or just show me only PDF files on my computer. Okay, so this is what it actually means. And now in here, what I'm going to do is that I will just say that self dot underscore PDF file is just going to be equal to self dot file, which is actually this variable. And now since we want to grab that name that the user has selected, that the user has actually selected the PDF file, then we're actually storing that PDF file in this variable PDF file. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that since now we have that PDF file, now what I want to do is that I want to set that location right here on my location label, because we now have that PDF file location stored in this variable PDF file. And now what I'm going to do is that I want to set the text on my location label. So self.location label.text, and previously you can just see that the text on the location label was nothing, but now in here, since the user has selected that PDF file, now we want to display that text. Okay, so it is going to be equal to self.pdf file, because in this variable we have set we have the location of that PDF file. Okay, so now previously that location label was actually not visible, and here you're going to see the center Y position was 20, but now we're just going to change that center Y position. So right in here, I will just say that self dot location label dot position hint is just going to be equal to a dictionary, and we actually don't want to change the center X position. It's just going to be stay to 0.5, and then the center Y position is going to be some value that is actually visible, and it's going to be 0.5. Okay, so now we have this thing as well. Okay, so now since we have that location, we have that PDF file. Now what we want is that we need to have that convert button as well, because now we have that location, we have that PDF file. Now we can actually convert it. So we have this convert button right here. You're going to see that we have this convert button, but the center Y position is actually 20, means that it's actually not visible. But now we can actually make it visible. So right in here, I will just say that self dot convert button dot position hint is just gonna be equal to this thing. My center underscore X is going to be 0.5, and then center underscore Y is just gonna be equal to 0.35. Okay, so yeah, that's all we need to be doing for this function. And just remember that this function will only be called when this button gets pressed. So when this button gets pressed, call this function file chooser. So when this button gets pressed 100 times, call this function 100 times. Okay, so now let's just execute this code and say that we have this PDF file, but you can just choose any PDF file from your computer. So you can see that inside of my Python project, I have like so many other files, but it is only showing that PDF file because it is actually ending with this PDF, with this PDF extension. And you can see that here we have that PDF files. So it is only displaying all the PDF files, and I only have one PDF file. But say that if you have like 100 PDF files, then it's going to show all the 100 PDF files on your computer. So it's actually inside of this location, which is Python projects and then Python project. And previously we have some location as well. And now let's just open it. And now you're going to see that we have it exactly displaying this location right here. Directly inside Python project, and then the name of this file is 40 tools of love.pdf. And now you're going to see that we have this convert button as well displayed immediately once we have chosen that location. Okay, but now when I actually click on the convert button, it's actually not doing anything because when this convert button gets clicked, it's actually calling this function convert to audio thread. But that convert to audio thread is actually doing nothing because we have this keyword pass. And so now we're going to work inside of this function, convert to audio thread function. So this function will be executed once the convert button gets clicked. So when the convert button gets clicked, it's actually invoking this function, convert to audio thread. And since we're actually binding an event to this function, so we actually need to pass that event right here to this function, convert to audio thread, that is going to be received right here. Okay, so previously this function was doing nothing because we have this pass keyword, but now we're going to remove this pass keyword. Okay, now what this function will do, what this function specifically will do is that it will actually create a thread, and then that thread will actually convert that selected PDF file into an audiobook. So right in here, we're going to actually create a thread. So this is just going to be equal to the thread class that we have previously imported. We have imported it right here, this thread class. Okay, now this thread class is just going to target a function, and that function will actually convert that PDF file into an audio file. So this is what this function will do. And just remember that we haven't created this function yet. And since it is going to be inside my app class, so I actually need to use it with this self. Okay, so now we have created this thread, but now we actually need to call this thread. So thread one dot start. Okay, so once this gets started, it will always basically call this function convert to audio. Okay, and now let's just create this function right here. So it is going to be convert. Make sure that you just spell it exactly the same as it is right here. So convert to audio and then self. And so now in here, first of all, we will actually open that book or that PDF file that we want to convert. Okay, so I have that PDF file. So right in here, I will just first of all create a variable, and I'll just name this variable as book. You can just name it. You can just name it anything you want. And I'm just gonna say I'm gonna actually use this built-in function in Python open. And now that to that function, we first of all need to tell the name of that file that we want to open, and then the mode, whether we want to read from that file, whether we want to write into that file, or whether we want to modify that file, or whatever we want. So actually we want to read that file. So first of all, the first thing that we need to pass is basically self dot PDF file, basically, which is actually the file name, which is so right in here is basically this file, because in this file we have the name of that, we have that location, and then the name of that file in this variable PDF file, which is actually on our location label as well. So we actually want to open this PDF file, and now we only want to read from that file. We do not want to write or edit that file. So right in here for the second argument, I will just say that we only want to read that file. So that is why the mode of it is just going to be RB. Okay, next, so this open function will just open that file. And now we need to tell why I'm actually opening this file. Okay, so right in here, I'll just say that PDF reader. So let me just give it some spaces. Okay, so PDF reader is just going to be PDF theme, which is basically the module that we've imported, dot PDF file reader. Okay, and now right in here, we actually need to pass that thing that we want to read, and this is actually this variable book. So in here, we have opened that book, and now with that module, which is by PDF3, we are actually reading that book. So in here, it will actually read that book, and then store it, and then store that read book in this variable PDF reader. Okay, so now the next thing I will just do is that I will just create a variable pages, and I'm going to put it equal to PDF reader, because now in here it has read that PDF and stored that read PDF in this variable PDF reader. And now in here what I'm going to do is that I will just say that since you have read it, now just tell me how many pages are basically inside of the PDF. So we're actually using that function num pages, which will actually count the number of pages, or it will actually return the number of pages that we have inside of that book. So in here we have only read that book and stored that entire read book in this variable PDF reader. And now since this variable contain all the information about that book, so now we're actually saying that I want to basically know what are the number of pages inside of that book. So let's say that PDF dot number of pages, and then we are storing that number of pages in this variable pages. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that final text, because it may be possible that we want to say that we want to read from page number 10 to page number 100, or from page number 50 till the end, or from any random location, or from any location that we want. So we're going to create a separate variable in which we can only read, in which we can only store that text that we want to basically convert. So I'll just say that final text is just going to be equal to, so by now it will be empty. But now what we're going to do is that we're going to actually loop over all the number of pages, or we're going to basically loop all the pages that we want to convert. So using the for loop. So we have the number of pages inside of this variable pages. And now what we're going to do is that we will actually loop over it. So first of all, I will just say that with um, PDF plumber, I'm actually using this module PDF plumber dot dot open. And what we want to open, we want to open self dot PDF file, and we want to basically, we're just gonna use it as PDF. And now inside of it, oops, not PDFs, that's PDF. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is that I will now actually loop over all the pages. So let's say that for I in range, and say that we just want to read the entire book. So it will be 0 to the number of pages that we have in this variable pages. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I will say that page is just going to be equal to uh, PDF dot pages, and then that index I. So it will say that page. So for every iteration, it's actually looping over a page. So I'm actually storing that page in this variable page, and I'm actually basically using this pages and then that index on that page. And I'm storing in this variable page. So I hope it is making sense. So page, and then I will just say that text is just going to be equal to page dot extract text. So we have basically we have that page stored in this variable page, and then we're actually extracting that text using this function extract text, and then storing it in this variable text. And now what I'm going to say that now my final text is just going to be equal to um, text, because I'm actually storing that text in this variable final text. And now in that final text, so this basically means final text equal to final text plus that text. So means that every page text is just going to be appended, or you can just say that it will actually get joined together with the previous text, with the previous page. You can just say that as well. Okay, so now in here we are actually extracting all the text and then doing all this stuff. And now in here we're gonna basically do that conversion part. So right in here we can actually add the print statement. I will just say that converting, please. Wait. Okay. So now right in here I will just say that engine is just gonna be equal to pp. Is actually the module, so it's by ttx3 dot init. First of all, we're actually initializing that engine, and that engine is actually something basically that will actually convert that text, or that this variable final text into audio. So this is what this engine actually means. So this will actually create that engine. We're actually initializing that engine so that it can get ready to convert the text into audio. Okay, so yeah, this is what it actually means. And now I'll just say that engine dot save to file final final text, And now in here, basically what I'm just saying that, okay, we have initialized it, and now we want to save it to a file. What we want to save, basically, we want to basically convert this text and then create a new file. And that in that new file, we will have that audiobook. So right in here, you can just name your audiobook anything you want, but I will just name it as audiobook, and then it should end with this extension .mp3, because this one is going to be our mp3 file, because this one an audio file, because this one is going to be an audio file. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I will just say that engine dot run and wait, and this basically means execute it and then wait until the entire text has been converted into the audio. Okay, so yeah, that's all we need to be doing. Or this whole thing will actually convert that final text into an audiobook. So right in here, the conversion part will take place, and that thing will actually convert it into that audiobook. Okay, so yeah, that's all we need to be doing. And yeah, let's just convert it now and see if it is working or not. So let me just execute this whole application and say that we just want to convert this file for the Rules of Love, and it is an amazing book if you just want to read. It's such an amazing book. It is one of my favorite book, and if you just want to read, then what I'm going to do is that I will actually provide this book next to this video as well, or the ending video of this section. You can just read this book, or what you can do is that you can just convert this book into an audiobook and then just listen to that book. It is such an amazing book. So let's just convert it by selecting it right here, and you're going to see that we have this thing right here. And now let's just do that conversion part. Okay, so click on the convert button, and it has started to convert. We're gonna basically see, because it will actually take some time to extract all the text before it can actually start converting. And now in here, you're gonna see that we have this print statement, which is saying that converting, please wait. So we can actually make it, again, it is actually a very long book. I think it just contains more than 500 pages. So it just took like 10 seconds for it to extract all the text. So you can see that how fast Python is. It just converted that text, that extracted that text from that book so fastly. And now the conversion part is just going to take a lot of time, because it may just take like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So what I'm gonna actually do is that I'm gonna actually pause this video, and once it is done, actually what we should have done is that once the conversion part has been completed, we should have added that print statement, which would have said successfully converted. Okay, but we haven't done that part, but now we have to wait. And I'm actually pausing this video, and I'm going to be back once this file has been successfully converted. All right, so in here it has successfully converted that book into an audio book. So previously what I did was that I actually added the statement. I previously stopped the execution of my previous program, and then what I did is that I actually printed out this message, because there should be some way of knowing that our file has been successfully converted into an audiobook, and now we can actually listen to it. So it will actually create that audio file in your project location, but you can specify any location of your choice right in here, and it will actually place that audiobook in that location. But since I have directly specified its name, so what it will do is that it will actually create that file in my project location. Okay, so this is actually our file, and we just named it at, so again, it is actually in my project location, which is actually my Python project. So right in here, I don't know if you're just listening to it or not, because I have my microphone turned on. So I believe that you are listening to it, because I can't listen it because I have my microphone turned on, but I believe that you are actually listening to it. So this is an audiobook, and you can see that it is, let me stop it. You're going to see that it is 9 hours and 54 minutes, because I told you that this book is extremely long. It just contains more than 500 pages. So I will just provide you this book at the end of this, at the ending video of this section, and then you, if you want, you can just read it. Or if you just don't like the habit of reading books, then what you can do is that you can actually convert that book into an audiobook and then listen to that book. Okay, so yeah, our application is now ready. Now, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna actually validate this application using the try and accept block, because there might be some possibility that it just got some problem extracting text right in here, because there might be problems that it might just get some kind of problem extracting text, and then it may just encounter error right here while converting the book into an audiobook. So there are like different possibilities. We're gonna do the validation part, and we're gonna do all of our validation inside of this function convert to audio. Okay, so first of all, right in here, it may be possible that the user who is trying to open the book might not get open. So right in here, we're gonna put it inside the try and accept block. So let's say that try. First of all, try to open the book. And actually, I'm gonna basically put these lines of code in the try block as well. So first of all, you're going to try to first of all, it's just going to try to open the book. But if it does, but if it just fails to open that book, then we will have something on the success error label. So in here, we have created the success error label, and then the text of it is empty, and it is at you can see that it's actually not feasible because the Y position is 20. So right in here, we're going to be setting the text on the success error label. So in here, we'll just say that self dot success error label dot text. It's going to be equal to problem opening the PDF file. Okay, so in here, if there is some kind of problem opening the book, it will come to this except log and will just show this error problem opening the book. But if it does successfully execute all these lines of code, then what we want after these lines of code is that we want to extract the text in here, but it may be possible that the text might not get extracted due to some kind of unknown problem. Then what we can do is that we should actually display something. We should display something else on the success error label. So right in here, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna put it inside the try and exam block as well. So yep, right here. So try to execute these lines of code that is extracting the text part. But if there is some kind of error, come to this except block, and then this time we will want you to have this text on your label, which will just say problem extracting the text. Okay, so now in here, what we will do is that we're gonna basically put all this basically I'm going to cut it right from here, and I'm going to put it inside this try block, because if this try block successfully get executed, then after that it's going to try to execute this try block. And if there is some kind of problem in this try block, then I'm going to come to this except block, and then we'll display this error message on the success error label. But if there is some kind of error in this try block, then we're going to come to the this except block, because the except block of this try is this one, and then the except block of this try is actually this one. Okay, so now let's just come to the convergent part, and right in here we will do the convergence. So I'm going to actually put it inside the try and except block, and I'm going to actually put it inside the try block. And in here, let me just first of all scroll it down. And let me just say that except if there is some kind of in here, if you remember, we are just doing that conversion after we have successfully extracted the text. Now we're just gonna say self dot success or a label dot text. It's just gonna be equal to problem converting problem converting. Please try again. And now what we're gonna do is that I'm gonna put this whole thing. So I'm going to cut it, and right in here, I'm going to put it inside this try block, because after successfully extracting the text, then it's gonna try to execute the conversion part. Yep, and in here, once the conversion is successful, then in here we will have success dot error label dot text. It's just gonna be equal to right in here we'll just say that successfully converted. Yep. And once it is successfully converted, then in here, we just need to make sure that the once and say that after successfully converting, the user want to extract some kind of other file. So right in here, we're just gonna make it empty. Error.text is just gonna be equal to in here empty, but it will have some kind of text if it's been successfully converted or if there's some kind of error in it. Okay, so right in here, say that in here, say that it has successfully extracted the text. Then say that I will also want to have something on the success error label as well, and say that it will be self dot success error label dot text. It's just gonna be equal to successfully successfully extracted the text. And now, once it has successfully extracted the text, then what we want is that this time it will be success error label dot text. It's just going to be equal to converting, please wait. And if it is successfully converted, then we can basically see this message. So right in here, once this text has been extracted, then okay, so right in here, say that before extracting the text, we will just display something on the success error label as well, and we just say that it's gonna be equal to extracting the text dot 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 extracting the text, and once the text has been successfully extracted, then we want this text. So once it has been extracted, we need to make sure that the text on it should now go empty so that we can have this text on our success label. So right in here, this time let's say that self dot success error label dot text is just going to be equal to empty, because previously it just contained this text, and now we want to make it empty so that it could have this text. And now right in here, since we now have this text, we're gonna basically make it empty right in here. So converting, please wait. So right in here on self dot success error label dot text, it's gonna be empty. And then we will have this thing. And once it has been successfully converted, I will now just say that dot text is just gonna be empty as well, so that I can have this text on the success error label. Okay, so now, yep, that's all we need to be doing. And right in here, the try and then this accept, try and then this accept. And actually, what is wrong in here? Yep, the thing is, so we'll just basically, yeah, we just don't need this print statement anymore. But if you want, you can just take it as it is, and let's just remove it by the way. Okay, so right in here, let's remove all these extra spaces. Okay, so let's just revise this code that we have done in this video. So first of all, obviously it will be empty. And by the way, another important thing we need to be doing is that we need to set the position of our success error label as well. So in here, right in here, it is actually not visible. It is at the 20th position, which is the position that is not going to be visible. But let's just see where is my convert button, and then below that convert button, we're going to display that success error label text. So here we have that convert button. It is at 0.35. So what I'm going to do is then I'm going to actually copy it, and now I'm going to actually wherever we're actually displaying the text, we just need this thing. So yep, and this time it will be this time I want my success error label. So success error label, and then the white position is going to be uh 2, 3. Okay, so now let's just copy this line of code. So I'm gonna actually copy it, and I'm gonna actually paste it right in here, and then paste it right in here, and then I'm gonna actually paste it right in here, and then I'm gonna actually paste it right in here, and then finally I'm gonna paste it right in here as well. Okay, so now let's just revise this code. Okay, so first of all, we will have this thing to just try to execute, and then and here we have this thing, and obviously we need to put it at the right position as well. And then to just try to extract the text, and once the text has been extracted, we're just gonna see this message, and then in here we will just see empty because we want this text converting, please wait. And so once it just get converted, let's see this thing. I think everything is looking fine, and let's just execute our code. And actually, yep, let's just execute our code. Let's do it. Okay, so let's just execute our code, and let's just select the PDF file, and let's just click on the convert button. Yep, extracting the text. Okay, so obviously it will take some time to extract the text. And now it is saying converting, please wait. So again, it will take some time. It may just take like 2 minutes. So what I'm again doing is that I'm actually pausing the screen, and I'm going to be back once this has successfully converted. All right, so now I'm just back and it has successfully converted, and you can just see that we have this message that it has been successfully converted. Okay, so now we are done with the validation part as well, and we are done with this application as well. Now, the next video, I'm going to be explaining this entire code one last time. So if you have any problem understanding anything, then it should just get clear out in the next video. But if you have understood everything, then you can actually end this section and move on to the next section.